I really like that song by Sia, but it makes me cry. I probably shouldn't have started with that. So much in our pop culture glorifies a lifestyle of promiscuity and doing anything and everything, whatever you feel, whatever you want, and kind of throwing yourself headlong into that. Few people in our pop culture have the courage to be honest about what that life actually looks like. This song is about somebody, a woman, who has not navigated love well. And with that comes a sense of hopelessness. With that comes a sense of worthlessness. With that comes shame and pain. These are things we have to address in love. These are things that are part of any love relationship. And today, the passage we're looking at addresses these issues and hopefully gives us a model of somebody who navigates these struggles successfully rather than being destroyed in the process. I've called today's message Lovesick. We're in the fifth message in this series from the Song of Songs. Please open your Bibles to chapter 5. We'll begin in verse 2 and we'll make our way through chapter 6, verse 3. I believe we are continuing with the dream sequences. We had an opening couple of chapters where love begins, and they have this one encounter that leaves kind of a bad taste in her mouth, because he comes to her home and invites her to come out into the countryside with him, spend the day with him, and her friends warn her, be careful, don't go too fast. Don't put yourself out there in a situation where you're not chaperoned and where you're caught up in the headiness of springtime, and you might do something foolish that'll damage your love. And she turns him away and tells him that I love you, you belong to me, I belong to you, but let's wait until the day breathes. Go for now to the mountain. And there will be time for us later on. That has led to a series of dreams, and she kind of goes back and forth between her first dream, which is a nightmare about losing him. Since she turned him away, she feels like he's gone forever, and she's running out in the night searching for him throughout the city and can't find him. The second dream, the pendulum swings to the opposite extreme. She dreams of their marriage day, and it's this glorious event that elevates them both to amazing heights. And now we kind of swing back to the other end with this dream. I slept, but my heart was awake. So I think this is the cue that she is still dreaming. She's still asleep, but my heart is awake. And every time you read this is something for you to remember anywhere in the Bible, both in the New and in the Old Testament. This is true. When the Hebrew people talk about the heart, they're not saying the same thing we mean when we talk about the heart. To us, the heart is emotion. To the Hebrew people, guts are emotion. When you read in the Bible about something happening in my entrails, that's emotion. But heart in the Hebrew mindset is about the will. It's about the core of who you are and what you choose to be, what you choose to do with yourself. So it's much more about will than simple emotion. So when she says here, I slept, but my heart was awake, she's not just saying her emotions were stirred up. She's saying that the very core of who she is wrestling with these issues as she sleeps. And the dreams are the ways in which she's wrestling with these challenges and issues. So she's dreaming, and we begin again very dramatically. The previous dream began with, what's that in the distance, right? Well, now we begin with a sound. And we almost strain with her to hear, what was that? My beloved is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my perfect one, for my head is wet with dew, my locks with the drops of the night. This is reminiscent of what happened in the daytime before she went to sleep. He shows up at her house and asks her to come out. Now things are a little bit different, because now he shows up and he's asking for her to let him in. He's not saying, come out with me. He's saying, let me in. Allow me entrance. So the scene has changed. We're no longer in the wedding. We're again in a situation where he's outside, she's inside, and they're not married, they're not living together, because he lives enough of a distance away that he's had to come in the night to where she is, and in the process, his hair has become wet with the dew of the night, the condensation of the night. So it's not like they're next to each other in different rooms in the same house, but he's clearly living somewhere else. We are back to their status in the waking world in this dream. We are back to them before marriage. We are back to them in this period of courtship. With all of these things that they're navigating. And he shows up in the dream and says, let me in. This might seem an unexpected response on her part. She says, I had put off my garment. How could I put it on? I had bathed my feet. How could I soil them? That's an odd response, isn't it? He wants in, and in the dream, her response is, meh. He's pleading with her, calling her his love, his dove, my sister, all these wonderful things, my perfect one. And her response is, I just put on my pajamas. Man, do I have to get dressed again? I just got the dirt off my feet so I wouldn't get sand in the bed. And I'm going to get them all dirty all over again. These are obviously minor annoyances. These aren't huge issues. These aren't world-changing things. But I wonder if in her dream, this is her coming back to maybe the other side of the issue. Yes, this dream is kind of reliving what happened the day before. He showed up, asked her out, and she, because of the danger involved in what he was suggesting, going out unchaperoned this way, and because of that it wasn't a wise thing to do, he forced her to be the bad person. He forced her to be the bad guy, the one who embarrasses him in front of her friends and says, no, we can't do that. And maybe this is her way in her dream of kind of dealing with that. She's a little annoyed with him at this point. Here he is again asking in, and her response is, to be annoyed about it, to be upset about it. Why did he have to put her in this circumstance to begin with? Why did he have to create this difficulty for her? But that doesn't last. My beloved put his hand to the latch, and my heart was thrilled within me. Here, the translation says heart. In the Hebrew, it's my entrails. Now we are talking emotion. When he puts his hand on the latch of the door, suddenly she's not upset anymore. All of her annoyance evaporates immediately, and she remembers what she feels for him and what their relationship means to her. And she kind of swings to the opposite end of the spectrum very quickly. It hits her like a ton of bricks in the gut. Just the longing for him. I arose to open to my beloved. So she, at this point, decides to throw caution to the wind. Now, in this dream, the circumstance has become a lot more dangerous than what happened the day before. They're not just talking about she's surrounded by her friends, he wants to go out into the countryside. This is nighttime, and this is her bedroom. She's in bed. In this dream, he wants into her bedroom. And her response in the dream is to say, all right, I'm done holding off. I'm done being patient. I'm done waiting. I'm going to throw the door open. Darn the consequences. Let's get on with it. I arose to open to my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with liquid myrrh on the handles of the bolt. I opened to my beloved, but my beloved had turned and gone. My soul failed me when he spoke. So again, it's like that first dream all over again. He's gone. But her response in this dream, she is stepping into dangerous territory here. She's throwing caution to the wind. Come on into my bedroom. Let's go. And you know how your subconscious works when you're dreaming? It kind of sometimes throws obstacles into the storyline of what's going on because something about you knows this isn't right. This can't be the way we play things out. All of a sudden he's gone, and it's kind of a repeat of the previous one. She goes out to seek for him. I sought him, but found him not. I called him, but he gave no answer. So she runs out into the nighttime city to search for him, as in her first dream. But the intent this time seems to be different. We're talking about bringing him into her bedroom. The watchmen found me as they went about in the city. They beat me. They bruised me. They took away my veil, those watchmen of the walls. Now, in her first dream, the watchmen didn't do anything to her. She kind of asked them to help her find him, and they kind of disappear from the dream immediately. In this dream, they become figures, authority figures that are chastising her. They kind of stand up and correct her for what she is trying to do, what she is trying to accomplish here. And they beat her, and they take away her veil, her anonymity, and they treat her like they would some reprehensible loose woman out in the middle of the city looking for a lover. They treat her as though her behavior is worthy of correction. She calls out to her friends in this dream. I adjure you. Every time previously she's said, I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, she's followed that up with some word of caution. Don't stir love until it's ready. Don't stir things up until it's the right moment. But this time, she's in the throes of this desperate wanting to draw him back. And there's no word of caution here. She says, I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, if you find my beloved, that you tell him I am sick with love. Courtship is a crazy experience, isn't it? How many of you are on the other side of that? You've been through courtship and are into the marriage part. Okay. Do you ever kind of look back on that kind of wistfully? Because you got to admit, the highs in courtship are, wow, you know, you're through the clouds. I mean, the highs are great, the passion and this way God built us so that when we initiate love, it just almost absorbs our whole heart and life. And you find yourself thinking of the other person constantly, and you can't get them out of your head, and you're writing their name on your notebooks and writing their last name after your first name and doing weird stuff. You know, you just, it kind of absorbs everything about life. And yeah, there's that wonderful, exciting part of it. But isn't there also just sheer agony at being apart? At all of the little struggles that you begin to face, the things that intervene and the expectations, and you want one thing and another wants another, and how do you navigate these things? And your passions are here, and everything you want is so intense, and there's no way anybody can ever meet all of those expectations, and there's so much heartache in this, isn't there? A love sickness. I mean, it gets you right here. It just hurts. And it's wonderful, but it's also painful. This is what she's expressing to her friends. She's not talking caution. She's not talking wisdom. She just says, I'm in pain. And it's a truth about love, that it involves pain. Not just marital love, every one of our loves exposes us to this dynamic of expectation and hope and desire for the other person and wanting the best for this other person and all these things and all the disappointments that come into our relationships. Love is hard. It's difficult. It's fraught with moments like this where we just feel torn. We saw previously that in her dream, the authority figures, the watchmen, are very strong correction to her. You're doing the wrong thing, and you need to shape up. Her friends, however, provide a different voice, and I think both voices are helpful. But her friends do not chastise her. They don't tell her she's doing something stupid, but they're very wise. I've noticed this as I'm working my way through this book, that the friends, if the man and the woman here represent an idealized expression of what the love between a man and a woman should look like, I think these friends also represent an idealized representation of the kinds of friends you want. So she tells them, if you see my love, tell them I am sick with love. They don't tell her, just calm down, slow down, be patient, it'll all work. They don't say anything like that, but they point her attention in the right direction. What is your beloved more than another beloved? O most beautiful among women. What is your beloved more than another beloved that you adjure us so? I think there are a couple of things. One thing is they continue to affirm her. They call her, O most beautiful among women. Good friends make you feel good about yourself. They encourage you. They treat you as worthy and important and valuable. They express that to her, but they say, okay, you say you're desperate to find him. You want to get him into your bedroom. You're sick with love. It's tearing you up. And they say, tell us, what makes this guy so special? Why him and not somebody else? And if it's just a physical urge, if you just need somebody in your bed, won't just anybody do? Why him? Why does he torture you so? What makes him better than anybody else? And there's a lot of wisdom in this question. They're asking her to consider the bigger picture of what she's really after. Is it just a body in your bed? Or is it something more than that? Is there something about this person that is irreplaceable? Is there something that makes him unique? Nobody else can provide for you what he will provide. Is there more to this than just getting somebody in your bed? Well, this sets her into one of these love inventories. Song of Songs has a number of these where they kind of go through the inventory head to toe and describe their love by associating their love with things that are important to them or that express certain concepts about them. So she says, my beloved is radiant, shining, shimmering, and ruddy. The idea being red, and she's not saying that he's red so much as saying that he's not anemic. He's vibrant and healthy, and you look at him and he looks alive, and he's a healthy specimen of a man, distinguished among 10,000. I want you to notice kind of the overall tone of her description. She is recognizing that this man is not just a man. He's not just a guy. He's the guy. He's the man, 1 in 1,000. His head is the finest gold. His locks are wavy, black as a raven. His eyes are like doves beside streams of water, bathed in milk, sitting beside a full pool. It's interesting the images she uses. She describes the locks of his hair as wavy. So obviously he's got hair long enough that you can tell it's wavy. He's got kind of longer hair probably. And it's wavy, it's not just straight. And she compares it to the color of a raven's plumage. Now, I love ravens. Some people don't like them, but I think they're so striking. They're these big, really impressive birds. And the black of them is kind of pearlescent, isn't it? There's a shimmer to it. It looks like they just got shined and polished. I mean, you're just an animal out there. Nobody's grooming you, and yet how do some animals look so striking? She compares him to that, and there's something strong and stark and beautiful about his hair. But the image of the raven is immediately contrasted with a very different. He has said about her, she's his dove. He's said about her eyes that they are doves, and she says the same about his eyes. So if the raven is something stark and strong, when she describes his eyes, she thinks of something much more tender. The image of a dove, and a dove sitting bathed in milk, and I think that's her way of saying that the whites of his eyes are not yellowed, but that they're nice and clean white, like milk. So you have this bird and the image of the white milk, and it's a description of his eyes, and the image here calling to a more tender reality about who he is. She doesn't describe his eyes as those of a hawk or something like that, but evokes this image of simplicity and tenderness that a dove would bring up. But his whole head, she says, is like the finest gold. Now, gold was not mined in the land of Israel. It had to be imported from other places. So gold already, even if it's mined somewhere, is still extremely rare and valuable. It's a beautiful metal. It doesn't tarnish. It can be hammered so thin. I mean, it's just an amazing metal, gold is. And it's been prized for a tremendously long amount of time. And if you look at the scale of values of metal, silver is very valuable, but gold is kind of the top scale. Gold is kind of at the top echelon. So she's communicating about her love, that he's extremely valuable, priceless. I put a couple of images here. That's a raven. I wish we had better contrast, but I love ravens. I think they're great. That's a dove. She continues with her description. His cheeks are like beds of spices, mounds of sweet-smelling herbs. His lips are lilies, dripping liquid myrrh. And she's describing his face and his lips. And the dominant theme here are aromas. And you'll notice throughout the book of Song of Songs that aroma is very important. Smells that draw you to the other person, that are associated with love and intimacy and wanting to be close to one another and being desirable. These are images that she's associating with him. He is desirable. To this day, our perfume and cologne industry is built upon the assumption that these smells somehow draw us to one another, right? From goofy commercials like the Axe commercials to more serious cologne commercials, but the idea is all the same. The scent draws you to the other person. It pulls you in. She describes him as that. His arms are rods of gold set with jewels. His body is polished ivory, bedecked with sapphires. His legs are alabaster columns set on bases of gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as the cedars. Do you get the impression she's trying to say he's valuable? Priceless? exquisite. As she's going through the inventory, the thing that keeps coming up to her is, this isn't some one and done. This isn't some discardable, disposable commodity. This is priceless. My love is priceless. She describes his arms as a rod of gold set in jewels. She describes his body as polished ivory bedecked in sapphires. She describes his legs as alabaster columns set on bases of gold. All of these are precious materials. I don't have my home decorated with any of those. I can't afford to. And that's the point of the comparison. And that's the wisdom of the friend's question. What makes yours better? Is there more to this than just a warm body? Sadly, some people do jump into marriage just to have somebody next to them. But that's not the way you should do it. His mouth is most sweet, and he is altogether desirable. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. I like that by the time she's reached the end of her inventory, yes, he's her love, he's her lover, but you know what else she's remembered? He's my friend. There's more to him than what goes on in a bedroom. He isn't just lover. He's also friend. There's more to this relationship than just getting him into my bedroom. By the time she reaches the end of her inventory, she's realized that. So her friends come back to her. Where has your beloved gone, O most beautiful among women? Where has your beloved turned that we may seek him with you? Now that you've got your head screwed on right, let us help you find him. Her concluding words here are basically a rehash of what happened the day before. What happened the day before? He shows up, says, come with me, let's go out into the countryside. Spring itself celebrates our love. Let's just go out there and enjoy the day together. And the friends say, watch it. There are little foxes that seem harmless that can destroy a vineyard in blossom. Be careful. Don't be reckless about your love. And her response then is, my beloved is mine, and I am his. He grazes among the lilies. And she tells him, go until the day breathes and the shadows flee, go to the mountains. Notice how she's repeating the same words. The same advice she gave to him during the daytime is now something she is speaking to herself. My beloved has gone down to his garden, to the beds of spices, to graze in the gardens and to gather lilies. Basically, she's telling her friends, I know where my love has gone. He's gone where I told him to go. He slowed down. He stepped back. He gave our love some space. This image of a gazelle grazing, that is not an image that strikes up lust and passion. It's an image of tranquility and enjoyment without the pressure and the frenzy of lust. It's a serene image. And she says, I know where he's embraced what I asked him to do. He is grazing among the lilies. Now she says, I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. During the daytime, when she told him this, she said it backwards. She said, my beloved is mine, and I am his. Now that she's the one that needs her own advice, she's turned it backwards, and she begins not with her ownership of him. Although in both moments she expresses a reciprocal reality here. There's a mutual belonging, but she began with him belonging to her previously. Now she says, no, it's the other way around. I am going to put my belonging to him first. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He grazes among the lilies. So we reach the end of this tumultuous dream that is fraught with passion and recklessness and a desire to just be done with waiting. And she manages, with the help of friends, to reach a point by the end of it that she's where she needs to be in this. She's content to give the relationship the time it needs and to give each moment its right place. If the advice she gave to him was for him to graze among the lilies, she understands that that's where she needs to be as well. I've said it before, I say it often, I think. Love hurts. It's painful. And there's so much emotion and it hits us so hard because when we love passionately, and we're not blasé about it, but we're seriously invested in loving another person, with that comes these great desires and expectations for the person. We want great things for our children, and with our spouses, we want great moments with them. We want to enjoy our love together, and every day we navigate the reality of the expectations and the desires we have for each other, and how very often we miss the mark with each other. And there is an inevitable pain in loving. But I guess the way I think about it is, it hurts more not to love. Not loving is the loneliest thing you can imagine. There's no point in living if you're not going to love. Jesus said, anything you do or are, if you have no love, I'm sorry, Paul said that. It's worthless, meaningless. And what I think the passage we're looking at today encourages us to do is to have the courage to navigate love right. And yes, recognize that there are these passions involved that cut us to the core and that pull us in these many directions. And we're often tempted to just throw caution to the wind and lay waste to things. But that is not the answer. Let us have the courage to love with patience, to love with endurance. And we can apply this to marital relationships, we can apply this to courtships, but we can apply it to all the loves in our lives. Let's have the courage to love well. And let's be an encouragement to one another in that process. Sometimes we need to be corrected, and sometimes we need to have the courage to correct one another. Sometimes we need to be the watchman. Sometimes we just need to very delicately guide the person in the right direction, help them think through what's going on, and come to realize the bigger picture of how love needs to play out. Love is a lifelong commitment. It's for the good and the bad times. It's, I'm going to seek the best for you until I am dead. That's what love is. Let's have the courage to do it right. We're going to sing a song of invitation. While we're singing, if God has put any kind of a commitment in your heart, maybe there's someone in your life that you love and you recognize this morning you've been doing it in a way that has twisted it, and love has ceased to be in your life maybe about giving, and it's become about what you get from the other person. Maybe love has ceased to be about surrender and it's been about conquest, and you want to correct that. You want to fix what you've been doing wrong. I want to invite you to come while we're singing and ask God to give you the courage and the strength to live love right. Let's stand. Matt and Mandy, could you help me with the invitation? And Justo and Blanca, please come while we sing.